Hey everyone, and welcome back. It is our 9th weekend to open at the Roadside flower stand, and it's nice and stocked. I have dahlias to offer, which I'm super excited about adding to the mason jars and the mixed bouquets. And then I also have a lot of zinnias, and my Rebecca are really going strong right now. And hey, if you're new here, my name is Christy. I am located in Western Massachusetts, Zone 6A. And I am heading into my second year selling flowers at my roadside flower stand. And I do apologize if you hear a humming noise in the background. My kids are on their electric tractors and Jeeps, and there's just like no stopping them because it's keeping them sane right now on this extremely warm day. They can go and ride off into the shade in the backyard. So right now I have my stand fully stocked, but we are going to just head back to earlier this morning. I usually start making my arrangements around 5 a.m. before all of the kids get up so I can at least get a cup of coffee in me. But today I was just not feeling it. I stayed up super late the other day wrapping my mason jars because I was just so busy during the week, and I work a summer camp right now because the school year is done. So with this heat, I am just extra exhausted, and I just wasn't feeling super creative today. I don't know what it was. I started to kind of get into the swing of things, but then with 2 things of coffee, I was like super jittery. So I managed to pull it together somehow and make some arrangements. So let's head back to 5 o'clock and see what I am up to. Gizmo, as always, is trying to eat the flowers, so you'll see me shooing him away. I tried slowing it down a little bit when it came to my mason jar to show you how I do it, but I feel like I'm just really never very good at explaining. But hopefully it'll help if you wanted to do some mason jar arrangements as well. So let's see what is happening earlier this morning, and then we'll cut back to now where it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Hey everyone, and welcome back. It is now Friday night and I'm back to work this week. So we just finished up dinner, which means it is finally time to start cutting for flowers. Unfortunately, I didn't have time yesterday to get a head start, so I'm super behind. I don't have any of my buckets washed. I don't have any flowers picked, and I still have to rinse out my snapdragons. So needless to say, I have a lot to do, and it's already 6 p.m. And hey, if you're new here, my name is Christy. I am located in Western Massachusetts, Zone 6A. And I am heading into my second year selling flowers at my roadside flower stand. So it is Friday night. It is harvest time. I usually do things on Friday, and I'm trying to get better at harvesting some on Thursday, but I had a late night. We went out to dinner with some coworkers. So by the time I got home and ate and put the kids to bed, it was super late. So I'm just like, heck with it. The sunlight is gone. Don't have time to do it. We're just going to jam pack everything in today. So I don't have any events coming up this weekend. Again, it's going to be nice. We're going to focus on the roadside flower stand. I am going to try and do at least 6 wrap bouquets. It's nice because I do have more dahlias to harvest. And if you're wondering what is on them right now, I do have some of my little baggies to keep the Japanese beetles out right now. I think they're like 9 by 12 inch bags, and then I have 6 by 9 inch bags. So these little mesh organza bags, I think they're called, they help keep the beetles out. So I try and put them on before any buds start to open up, well before. And I also try and disbud the 2 side buds. So usually when you have your dahlias, you have your main flower and then 2 side buds. I try and just get those off in hopes that maybe it would give me a bigger bloom. Not quite sure. It's my first year doing it, but I do have some gorgeous cafe au laits I'm so excited to get. So I'm hoping I can get those into some of my wrapped bouquets, and then we'll do our mason jars as well. I'm hoping to take you along with as much harvesting as possible, but if there's not enough footage or time to do so, I apologize, but I am just really running short on time today. But luckily it is so nice out. So it was about 93, 94 degrees today. So it was very warm again. We have a huge heat wave coming up again next week, and wait till you see my sunflowers. I will definitely show you those because I am so disappointed in my sunflowers, which is probably a user error, which I will ask you about once I get there. So stay tuned for that. So I have to wash my buckets now, and we'll start harvesting, and I'll show you my sunflowers and everything I have once I'm all done. Okay, so let me show you my sunflowers. Look how teeny tiny they are. They are about 1 inch. I have the smallest sunflowers ever. And I spaced them about 5 inches, I would say, and I'm not quite sure why they are so tiny. So I'm gonna harvest these. Not excited, but you know what? Next time when I start planting them out, I'm hoping it's just because they don't get a ton of sun maybe in this one little corner, because the ones over to the right look a little bit bigger. So yep, this is my tiny sunflower. Not that impressed. Okay, so we only have harvested this over here in the past hour and 15 minutes. Between my kids arguing, getting hurt, and helping them, I have only 3 buckets done, and I still have all my dahlias, all of the raised garden beds and up front, and like the little perennial strip if I can find anything. So I'm really hoping I can get stuff done, and then I still have to rinse my snapdragons. So I'm going to work on my dahlias next and take you along for those, but I will show you what I have harvested so far. The bugs are really, really bad, so they keep flying in my eyes, and I have to keep going in and rinsing them out. So I haven't filmed too much, but here is what I have so far. So we have our snaps, and look how tall these straw flower are. And then I have miscellaneous. I have some Rebecca, yarrow, and some status. And then we have our first bucket of zinnias. And again, my puny little sunflowers. So we're going to have to figure that out. So I have these 3 right now. And then we still have to get dahlias and work on the other side. All right. So unfortunately, the ground here is not super stable. So I'm sorry if this is off-centered. But I'm going to take my little baggie off. And I'm going to place it actually on this one right here. And then I'm going to cut. And even though there's some blooms here and you might want to cut it right here, which I'm not even quite sure if you can see, I'm going to go all the way down. And I probably could cut it way more, but I'm going to use this. And we have our first dahlia of the night. So I will snip all these extras off. And this is even pinched. And look at how thick this is compared. But she is beautiful. And look how beautiful these are. I am so excited that dahlia season is in full swing, and these cafe au laits, they are just magnificent. All right, it is now time for us to start taking out all of our flowers. It's about 5 a.m. and of course I'm going to be battling Gizmo from eating everything, but we have lots of frost explosions, some echinacea, feverfew, a little bit of nigella left over in the pod in flower form, a few blue plurum. Look at this gorgeous dahlia, so dang excited, and I'm still learning all the names, so don't mind me if I'm not saying them. But yes, we have lots of dahlias, and then I have some of my Rebecca in both the Sahara and Indian Summer, some status and celosias back there in yarrow, and then I have 2 buckets of zinnias that are completely filled. And then I even have some over in this little bucket over here in my mini sunflowers, but we're still going to use them regardless of how small they are. Some nice snapdragons, my Amazon dianthus, and then I have a ton of straw flower, and I don't know what I'm going to do with this, if I'm going to dry it or use it, so we'll see. But there is all of my status and a few celosia popping out, and then I even had a few cosmos as well, so we have a great selection. So I'm always going to now start with my wrapped bouquets. Unfortunately, I'm really bad at holding it in the center so you can see, but I would start with my main focal flower, like my dahlia, dianthus, and my frost explosion, and then I was trying to work around from there. I am really trying to promote these wrapped bouquets and using
my best dahlias for them. So that way you're getting your money's worth. So whatever is my favorite couple, those will be in at least one of them. And then I'm hoping to start really bulking them up once the dahlias are kicking in place. So unfortunately, I don't have everything laid out so I can just pick it up in a nice line. I'm kind of just going all over the place because as you can see, Gizmo is right there to pounce and eat whatever he can if I am not paying attention. He's really going after that frost explosion. So I'm just gonna keep everything in buckets for now and then just move around. I'm still trying to learn how to hold them so it's like nice and easy in my hand and how I want to place everything, but we're slowly getting there. This is a huge learning process for me and Curve to be able to do wrapped bouquets, but I'm starting to bulk them up now with some zinnias. I have a lot from Floret that is now blooming, which I'm very excited about. They go really well with the nice light tones that I have of my dahlias. So here is the final product. As you can see, it has one main dahlia, and then I kind of wrapped it around with some snapdragons and zinnias, and then I have those dianthus framing around the bouquet as well. So I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, we're slowing things down, but my little guy is just about to wake up. So I'm going to see if I can get one done before I go and grab him. So we're going to make a mason jar, and I always like to put my dahlias or anything that's heavier in the front. Oh. And you do have to cut your stems a little bit shorter so that they don't flop and they kind of sit nicely. Dahlias and sunflowers are a little bit harder because they do tend to move. So I'm going to put that so it like usually doesn't stay where you want it to, but we're going to make it work once we start getting things in. So I am going to get some of my frost explosion, and that is going to be my greenery and the backdrop. And this lasts so long in the base, so it's a little bit high. So don't be afraid to keep trimming and fixing it. So we have our frost explosion, and then I'm going to also add some feverfew in here. Let's see. And mine are like super short. So this is what we planted out earlier in the year. My second year feverfew or whatever I had over winter, that was like probably 3 or 4 feet tall. So I'm going to use this feverfew just to help frame that so that stops moving around. You can't really see it, but it'll peek out once they have their mason jar wrapper off. So we're gonna leave it like that. And then I'm gonna come in with some snapdragons to add a little bit of height. I have a little bit of yarrow, and I will add in some of my zinnias. So let me just go and grab what I need. All right, so I have some white Madam Butterfly and some Potomac Apple Blossom. And these, even though like there are not the stem length that I wanted and there's not as many buds, that's okay. They're gonna work just fine in my mason jar, just to help basically frame the greenery and keep everything in place. So I add them right behind. And I kind of tend to just load them up. And again, if something is just not the height you want, you can easily just take it out. But I kind of do forward facing, as you can see. So I'm going to frame the back. I'll add the Potomac Apple Blossom just to add a little bit of color in the background. And then we have some nice white. And again, you can zhuzh it up however you like. And then we're going to go in and add some of my zinnias. So I luckily had a lot of florets pop up, like the precious metals that I purchased. And oh my gosh, they are great. Her unicorn mix, I will say, like the stems were so stinking sturdy. It was great. Oh, and I just gotta always keep an eye on my cat because my cat likes to eat my flowers. Let's see here. So I have some more. I found a straw flower. So I'm pretty much where it's like 2 colors. I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone and have like things that might not normally, in my eyes, work together in there. So I'll add a little straw flower, and we're going to try and just start bulking it up. All right, so for me, these don't really go, even though I just cut this, I'm just gonna chuck it back in. And I always take the leaves off of my zinnias. Then we're gonna add this, and again, there is some feverfew. You might not see it, it's tucked in, but it's gonna really help support and keep that up. And there's Gizmo eating a leaf on my foot. And then I have a nice smaller one. The smaller ones I might keep the leaves on because those are what is gonna be peeking out from the side. Like so. So I'm gonna try and get some more in these nice pink colorways. So like here's a nice one. And I do the wiggle test, but I also try and leave some in that even if they do pass that wiggle test, that they will, if they look like the little petals are still forming, I will leave them so I can have a bigger flower later on. So look, we're starting to get there. I'm gonna see if I can add maybe another straw flower, or we have feverfew. I wish I had some more of my celosia ready. Like this goes so nicely with it. Little man's starting to pop up, so I'm gonna have to go get him in a minute. Let's see if there is any more of that color. My celosia's slowly starting to get there. I had to keep pinching it because it would be so short. I'm just gonna strip and add some for some height. So for me, this is actually looking pretty good and full, but I might add another zinnia or two, but this is what it looks like so far. Maybe a little bit more. I used a ton of my yarrow last week, so unfortunately don't have too much left. Oh, here's a nice one. That will complement it well. And then I'm trying to make sure I get all of these little side buds. I'm gonna put this right here. All right. And I think this is going to be perfect. What do you think? Okay, mason jars. We are back. I have my frost explosion and some blue plurum. I'm trying to make sure I add some of my Rebecca, and I have some of those nice light tones with the zinnias that really complement the Rebecca really nicely. The Rebecca ones are going a little bit slower than they did maybe in the fall when I had them, but needless to say, they're still selling. I think people just really like the vibrant colors of the zinnias that I have been having. We have another zinnia one coming. I'm pretty sure this is like one of my favorites. I really like those like antique tones, or like the nice like rustic tones with the oranges and the yellows, but people are still going after those super bright colors first, which is actually really funny. I'm trying to also not pair everything where it's like all the yellows together, all the pinks together. So here you can see me putting the Rebecca with the pink dianthus, still adding a little bit of yellow, but I'm trying to really work on mixing my color combo so it's not all just one color palette. We have some nice pinks going. I'm really excited that my echinacea is finally blooming. I'm going to make sure that I grow some more of those, but this right here, one of my favorites. Like, look at those queenies. I'm obsessed with them, and the like antique and the greens that are coming. Here is one of my wrapped bouquets with that gorgeous cafe au laits. I am loving also the frost explosion in the background. They last so dang long. Here is my flower stand all set up. So much color and vibrancy. I'm just like obsessed. So we'll get a little bit of a closer look. As you can see, I have my Rebecca together. The frost explosion, I mean, it looks like just little fireworks. It's twinkling so nicely. And then on the bottom here, we have some more Rebecca and some zinnias. And as you can see, I'm not quite loving how that bucket is, but that's what I'm working with right now. We are going to fix that tomorrow, don't you worry. But very excited with how the display looks. It's just so nice and colorful. That's why I'm just like loving this blue that I use and the white. It just really helps these colors pop. So I made sure I made some business cards. I left some flower instructions as well. They don't go in every single bouquet. I just want people to take them if needed so they're not just getting trashed. So this is going to be what it looks like, and I'm so dang excited. And here is my sneak peek photo that I posted with one of my bouquets to try and show off what they have to offer.
Okay, so I was so excited about these dahlias, and you know what? I did all of my harvesting last night. I probably was outside from like 6 to about 8 o'clock, and then I came back outside for just a little bit longer, and then I rinsed off my snapdragons. Again, those are a little bit frustrating, but not as frustrating as my dang sunflowers. I spaced them, and I even measured. They are in a 5 by 5 inch grid, and they are maybe an inch wide in diameter. I'm not sure if it's just because I wasn't fertilizing them enough. I don't know if it's because maybe they're not getting as much sun. But they are so dang small, and I was hoping for at least a good 3 to 5 inch bloom so I could put 3 of them in a wrapped bouquet, and they would take up some more space. So I'm a little bit flustered about that because I already have a ton in that 5 by 5 inch grid, which I'm thinking maybe it's just more due to the lack of sun. Now that the sun has shifted, this little spot doesn't get quite as much as it used to in the springtime, which is again why I cannot wait for these trees to get cut down in the backyard because they'll get so much more sun. If you're new here, I have all of my stuff growing in my backyard, and we have insanely tall pine trees, which block the sun. So I am kind of limited, which is why I made a huge dahlia patch over here. This used to be my vegetable garden, which I have taken over for my flowers. And the zinnias, believe it or not, behind me, I started those about a month and a half later than the ones that I started out in my other spot, and they are already much bigger, and it's definitely due to the sunlight. So something for me to consider next year. I knew I was kind of a little bit limited because of the pine trees, but needless to say, hopefully I can figure out my sunflower situation. So it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's a little bit slower, even slower than the 4th of July. I think I have sold about 6 out of my 13 mason jars, and all of my wrapped bouquets are still there. So no worries. What I always do is I will put them back out on Sunday, and then usually people that can't or are very busy on the weekend on Saturday will swing by come Sunday. So if anything, my game plan is to just bring them to work and try and sell them maybe at our front door or give them away to coworkers. So we shall see. But I'm going to check back in with you later and let you know how we're doing, probably around like 3 or 4 o'clock before dinner time starts. And then I always bring it back in around 8 o'clock once everyone's done with their nightly walks. And then we'll put everything back out on Sunday. So stay tuned. Okay, so it's now 7:30. It's been one heck of a day. I just finished watering everything, and last I checked was probably around, I would say 3 or 4 o'clock, and I had 5 mason jars and 3 wrapped bouquets left. So we started off this morning with 13 mason jars and 5 wrapped bouquets. So I'm hoping to have at least maybe 4 or 5 left so I can put them back out tomorrow. And I also picked a few more dahlias that were blooming, of course, the next day, and I'm going to make at least 1 or 2 more mason jars because I always keep some extra flowers just in case, whether it's zinnias or celosia, or I have a ton of straw flower that I never use, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, if I want to try and dry it or not, and then I will restock tomorrow. But I was spending so much time bagging my dahlias because we have so many buds and so many Japanese beetles. So I try and protect them as best as I can right here. So that was really fun. So I'm going to make my way to the front and we will see how. All right. And happy Sunday, everyone. I was really bad at keeping you updated with everything going on. So it's now 1:30 in the afternoon on Sunday. So after my night on Saturday, I had 2 mason jars left and 3 wrapped bouquets. And my only issue is with the wrapped bouquets, I feel like people couldn't really see them in the black bucket. So I had to figure out something different there. And then I had some dahlias open up. And so I made 2 more mason jars. So in total, I had 4 mason jars and 3 wrapped bouquets. I ended up saving 2 of them for my mom. So she grabbed those. So that means on Sunday I had 3 wrapped bouquets and 2 mason jars left. And luckily I found a new way to display my wrapped bouquets, because unfortunately I feel like people couldn't really see what was in the black buckets. And I feel like that's why they weren't really going, even though they had all of like my nice dahlias in them. So luckily my mom works retail and I was able to use the stand that they were throwing away, and that actually worked perfectly. So as of 1 o'clock, I only had 1 wrapped bouquet left. So I'm pumped about that. I think the display really helped out so people could see inside what was the flowers and this whole situation, and not just seeing like the brown paper sticking out. So I'm going to try that for next week, and you can make it super tall as well. So I might put that on the outside, like to the left of my flower stand, so people can walk around and see it. So we'll see, because I'm going to still keep pushing those wrapped bouquets. So I'll let you know when I close up how everything goes. And if there's one left, as always, I'm going to take it to work with me. So stay tuned. All right, so I'm taking a break. I just got a text alert that I sold my last wrapped bouquet. So I'm very, very excited about that. It is like 90 degrees out, and I just finished planting out a sunflower succession right now. So I am ready to take a break. So it was really nice to come to my phone and see that alert that I sold my last wrapped bouquet. So next weekend should be very interesting. I am 2 weeks out from my first vendor event. It's not a farmer's market. It's kind of more like a craft fair or a vendor's event. There's going to be music, food trucks, any local business that wanted to attend. The best part is I only have $30 into this vendor event, so I just need to sell a few things just to make my money back. I'm really there, besides just the selling of my flowers, is going to be just getting out into the community and promoting my business and my flower stand, so that way some more local people will know about it. Because what I really do like about this venue is that it's only 2 minutes up the road. So it's going to be a nice short drive, which is great. So I don't have to worry about my flowers taking a long time out, but it's going to be really warm that day. So it's going to be interesting. I need to make sure that I keep everything well hydrated and cold. But I'm super excited. So if you would like to stay updated and see how I plan next week and maybe not cutting as much and what I want to save for the following week, make sure you hit like and subscribe and hit that bell button, and I will see you all next time. Happy gardening.